I'm Andrew Sherman. I'm a Texas transplant who has always been in pursuit of art as a career. I've played in bands, pursued an acting career in Hollywood, but I found it behind the lens of a camera here in Dallas, Texas. I was born in New York, I've lived in Chicago, Los Angeles, Austin, but I love Dallas. There's a magical artistic scene in Dallas that mostly goes unnoticed to the outside world. This podcast is focused on what makes it so special and the people who make it thrive artistically. If you don't live here, and even if you do, you might not have heard of them. This is the Dallas Famous Podcast. So who you gonna be? Who you gonna be when you're all grown up? This week on the Season 6 premiere of the Dallas Famous Podcast, it's Vaden Lewis from the Toadies. We joined Vaden at The Loop, his rehearsal studio in Fort Worth, to talk about growing up a Fort Worth kid, how hearing the Talking Heads and the Pixies changed everything, and the early days of the Toadies. From a sweltering metal storage unit to a deal with Interscope after a showcase at the Whisky. We also get into the band's brand new album, The Charmer, recorded with the legendary Steve Albini, a dream Vaden had since the very beginning that took nearly 30 years to make happen. Plus, what it took to build The Loop into the kind of place musicians actually want to show up to. I know you're going to dig this one. Here it is. The Dallas Famous Podcast is supported by the Mullen & Mullen Music Project. The Music Project was created by Mullen & Mullen Injury Law Firm to champion the independent music scene in North Texas. Hello and welcome to Season 6 of the Dallas Famous Podcast. I'm in Fort Worth, actually, at the Loop rehearsal studio with Vaden Lewis, the founder of the Toadies and also owner of the studio, I just found out.
That's right.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So you're a Fort Worth kid to start with, yeah?
Yep.
Take me to the beginning. What was your first, music influences, other than just something's on the radio?
It was all radio, really. I was pretty discouraged from going to rock shows or going anywhere, really, because of my parents. They were very religious and very much small, country folk who Fort Worth was the big city to them, and it was like, you're going to get stabbed. You're just going to get stabbed. And then when I was a teenager, it turned into go if you want, but you're going to get stabbed, that kind of stuff. And that's an oversimplification, but that was the vibe. So I didn't really go to a live show until I was 17, maybe 16, 17.
Oh, wow. Do you remember what it was?
Journey.
Journey.
Yeah. With, I forget who was opening, but anyway, it was a reunion arena. And so yeah, radio was really my main influence. And once, I got into rock and roll, that was... because I did a lot, I'm sure there's a lot on you out there. I'm definitely the thousandth person to interview at least. But it was saying you started kind of like bluegrass, ZZ Top, and then you kind of switched to that, Pixies, Talking Heads. Was that, what caused that change? I guess the working at a record store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I worked at, it was a Peaches, and then it was a Sound Warehouse, and that's when I started working there, and then it became a Blockbuster, and now it's a liquor store. Huh. But at any rate, I was in there, and I was still listening to the usual stuff, and I was kind of getting hungry for something different. And then I heard the Pixies, that first Pixies record, and it just everything shifted, opened me up to so much different music, and then, actually, let me flip that around. I'm sorry, I heard the Talking Heads first. And then maybe a year or so later, I got turned on to the Pixies, and those two together really informed my worldview as far as music goes.
Right. At what point did you start actually playing or singing, or what came first?
I played music since I can remember. My parents did have me take piano lessons in elementary school, and I got really good at that. I've actually in my life I've learned and forgotten how to read sheet music twice, so that's kind of
right.
That's not a bragging right. That's just dumb.
Yeah. But you don't always need it in rock and roll, I guess.
No, but yeah. So I played piano. I played banjo. I still have a mandolin and a banjo, and then I didn't start playing electric guitar until I was, I think, 16. Uh-huh. And I remember buying my first guitar at Bruce Music here in Fort Worth. Okay. I think it's Zoo now, but a used Hondo 2, ugly as hell guitar, and I bought my guitar and I'm trying to figure it out, and then I read that Eric Clapton was playing gigs for money at 16, and I very nearly quit.
You're like, I should.
I'm too late,
That's funny. Yeah.
But I stayed with it, and I felt like I had a knack. Something in it really spoke to me because I don't know. I could just hear when it was. I don't have perfect pitch, but I could hear when a guitar wasn't in tune with itself, and that like my brother was like, I don't know what you're even. He's an accountant now, so he but I don't know what you're talking about. So anyway, I don't know.
That's fine.
Digression.
And you. Was the Toadies your first band? Were you in bands before that?
Oh, no, I was in cover bands before that.
Bands.
A couple of 3 different cover bands. At the time of my, we never made any money. We played for beer, basically. Every once in a while, we'd get paid a couple of bucks.
Sure.
But, and I was the singles manager, the 45s manager. And so I could see the chart, and I knew what I liked. And if anything I liked was on the chart, or vice versa. If something got on the chart, I'd listen to it and like it. I would just take the 45 home and tape it and bring it back, and then we'd learn it and play it. Yeah.
So, like, what are the bands you're pulling?
Oh, U2, Echo and the Bunnymen.
Yeah.
I can't even remember whatever was top 40 rock that I could stand, which is all gone out of my mind now. I just don't even remember. But those 2 stand out.
Were you finding like other people that were into this music, or is that at the record store? Or is it also other friends, or?
A lot of it was around the record store, and some other friends that I maybe come out of high school with that like we started meeting up and playing the stuff. And I remember this is in this cover band. I think we were starting to do a little. I think we made a couple of dollars, more than usual that year, and or that day, whatever year at a time, and they I didn't realize till later that they pulled an intervention on me because they came to visit me where I was living, and said, "We need you to listen to better music."
Right.
And I said, I need to start my own band.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's when I started the Toadies.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I remember reading that like everyone else was working at the store too?
This for the Toadies, Lisa was working there. Charles was not working there. He had a different job. I can't remember what he was doing at the time. And we had a temporary drummer, Guy Vaughn, who was he lives in LA now. He said, I like you guys, but it's not my kind of music, but I'll do it because you have a show. We had a show booked,
right
here in Fort Worth, and we didn't have a name or a drummer. And so he agreed to do it.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then how did the Toadies, like, what was the early era of the Toadies, like prior to, getting your first deal? Like, what was that experience like?
Well, when we started, speaking of rehearsal places, we were in a U Store It unit here in Fort Worth over on Beach Street. And it was like a 1-car garage, metal, outdoor. Of course, there's no AC. There was a single light bulb that I bought a splitter for, and then we just ran a ton of extension cables all off that one light bulb socket, and we never threw a breaker. I don't know how we never threw a breaker.
Right.
So we sat out there and sweated our asses off, and then froze our asses off, and then, yeah.
Right. And like, what were you just doing Fort Worth? Like, how quickly did you end up in Dallas and Deep Ellum? Like, how was that scene?
Back then, my experience was that it was very divided, very clicky. And that if you're from Fort Worth, then you're a hayseed, and we don't have those here, in Dallas. Right. And that was just my reading of the situation. Who knows how accurate that was?
Right.
But we would play some gigs over here. Kelly Parker, Michael Parker, Melissa Kirkendall, they ran all these cool little joints over here. And Fort Worth was very aggressively anti-rock and roll and fun, super anti-fun. We played at the Axis, which is just a few blocks from here, Mad Hatter's, which is just a few blocks. And the police would just come in and like, toilet's loose, there's your fine. Somebody has a beer, they're fining everybody, here's a fine. They just handed out tickets. And just kept closing places down. And it was years later that the city finally realized, hey, Austin's doing all right with this shit. you know?
Yeah.
Why don't we change our attitude?
Yeah.
And anyway, so we would play these little dives, and but I mean, at the Axis, it was small. It was probably the size of this room, and they had a little annex on the side where they sold beer out of a cooler, and we played with Fugazi, the Goo Goo Dolls, Lemonheads.
Oh, wow.
Vanilla Ice came by one evening with his new single, and he's played it out in front of the. I don't know why he was there, but he was playing his single and doing his dance, and it was crazy. It was cool. And then eventually Jeff Lyles in Dallas, somehow I connected with him, and he said, "Yeah, man, bring it." So we. That's what got us into Dallas.
Right. That was what. What's the name of that venue? Theater Gallery. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
We did Theater Gallery, Prophet Bar, Trees. Eventually, Main Bar.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we didn't. That was not my favorite, but it was.
And at that point, were you like going outside of the area, or are you kind of just staying kind of in this DFW area?
Mostly Well, we were trying to get out. I had a couple of rules that I was adamant about when the band started, and I still am. It's not practice; it's rehearsal, because we're going to be professionals at this, right? We have to get out of our comfort zone, which means getting out of our hometown. But I don't want to sleep on a floor. I just don't.
Yeah.
You know, my apartment's gross enough where I live. so I don't want to sleep on a floor. So if we can go there and then afford a room, or go there and come back, we would go to like Lubbock and Amarillo and play a gig and drive back, which was not the safest thing in the world. Right. But, those were my standards, cool. And that's what I put down.
And how did Interscope get wind of you?
That's an interesting tale. Let's see. We did a EP on Grass Records, which I'm just going to jump down so many rabbit holes. But I don't know if it was a prank or just for fun, or they knew us well enough that they thought we would think this is funny. But we were the first release on Grass Records, which became Wind Up eventually. And when our record came out, it was on Ass Records. Yeah, they left the GR off of Grass Records. And I probably still have one somewhere. But anyway, they put us on Red, which is a distributor. There was a guy named Ray who worked at Red. He was in Northern California, but I don't know if he was in LA. I can't remember where he was prior to that. But wherever their distribution center is, but he wanted to get a job in the record industry. He wanted to be an A&R guy. So he somehow got a hold of Jimmy Iovine and Ted Fields and said, there's this band out of Texas, this kick-ass tape. If you'll sign them, I'll be their A&R guy, and it's all going to be great. And we didn't know anything was happening at all.
Wow.
And so we somehow get a call from, I guess he calls Grass and they call us, and we set up a showcase at the, God damn it, what's that classic place on Sunset? Whisky Bar.
Whisky, oh yeah.
Yeah, the Whisky Go-Go. And so we played our short set and did a handshake right there.
Wow, that's cool. I was in LA at that time trying to get my band signed, and I never figured it out, obviously, but that's impressive. So that was really just off your EP, he fell in love with it.
Yeah.
Huh? That's cool. And I mean, God,
well, the EP had Possum Kingdom on it too.
Okay.
So, and nobody came to me and said, we're signing you because of this song.
Right.
Which would have been helpful to know,
yeah.
Honestly, because I was tired of that fucking song. I'd played it for a couple of years, and I'm like, I want to play other stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, glad that I...
Yeah, that's funny because, I only knew that song for a while, and then I came out here, and my friends opened for you with Billy Bob's Goodnight Ned, and we were watching your set, and my friend's like, this song, and I'm like, I didn't grow up with this music, and since then, I've shot you a number of times, yeah, your songs come on, and I'm like, I know who it is immediately.
Right on.
So actually, and that I guess let me ask you about process a little bit, because I read that this last album you just did was the first one where you're recording it all in the room. That makes me wonder what your writing process is like. Are you guys all coming up with your own parts? Are you bringing stuff in? How does that work?
Yeah, well, it's not, let me back up. We recorded the first record and the EPs and all the stuff we did before that especially, I'm just going to start all the way. You can cut that part right the fuck out. Like we would save every penny from every show. And like for gas, that's it, you know, and if we needed a guitar cable or something like that. But all the money gets put aside. And it wasn't much. And so we'd go into Crystal Clear Sound and record, which was where we did all of our demos.
Oh, cool.
And you know, we have to have this down. We're going to go in. Because we can't even afford to buy the tape. We were renting the tape because everything was on tape back then.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And so that was another ethic. It was like, get this all together. We're going to do it. We're going to put it down. We get 2 or 3 takes, and that's it. And so that was our mindset. And so for the first record, that's what we did as well. We had everything written.
Right.
We did have some pre-production where a few things changed. Pre-production in LA with Tom and Rob, the producers, and they had some really good insight on a couple of songs. But at any rate, so we did Rubberneck that way, and at some point it turned into, I guess, with the progress and technology, I could sit at home and I could make a fully realized demo. I even kind of learned how to mimic Rez's drums, like grab all the snares and move them up a little bit, and like it's a weird nuance that he has. Huh. And if I want to get that in depth, I can sit there and do it, and it's just nuts. But and it got to that point, and then when we were doing our own records on Kirtland Record, we still had a pretty tight budget, and so we would go in. There were times where we just dumped the whole demo, all the stems, which is individual tracks, into multi-tape on his Pro Tools rig, and then mute the drums, Rez, go play drums, and then mute the bass, go play the bass.
Oh, wow.
And we would just go down the line and replace the parts with real people doing it, which is pretty sterile. But we've been playing together so long that it still worked. Yeah. But for this record, we wanted to work with Steve Albini forever, for a lot of reasons that didn't happen. But we went on tour a couple of years ago. We wound up not being on label anymore. And we went on tour, and my wife, who's also an accountant, we said, we want to do a record on our own after this. It costs this much money, which is a fuck ton of money. And she somehow scraped that, put it in a different account, and when we got paid, and like nobody even noticed. I don't know what happened. But so she did a great job with that, and then we were able to get Steve Albini and do this record, and we had rehearsed some of these songs, but we still wanted to keep it live. And I didn't want to do a live record, but I wanted to have a live feel. Right. I wanted to allow myself to do overdubs and stuff like that. That's what I mean by not do a live record.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I mean, I've heard there's, I think 2 songs are released at this point. By the time this comes out, I'm sure. Well, when does the record actually all come out?
First or second of March. I should know that immediately.
Right. Well, this will come out like a handful of days before that. So, but yeah, I can feel that live feel from those recordings. Like it definitely has a different feel to it. And I mean, Steve Albini, I mean, who wouldn't want to work with him?
He's amazing. Yeah, it was amazing. It's funny because even back from the first record, I wanted to work with Steve Albini. We all did, and the reaction, I think it was right after the Dust Up with Nirvana and Tom Whalley, and like they recorded with him, and then it went to Tom Whalley for mixing, and everybody got pissed off at everybody else. Right. And something like that. And so the label was like, nah, he's no. Who else? Who costs a lot more that we can trust? Basically, I think they thought they could push people around if they paid more. I don't know. I really don't. I'm just making that up. But at any rate, we wanted to work with him forever. Then 30 years go by, and we finally get him on the calendar. And I'm like, oh no, I'm afraid of Steve Albini.
I get it.
He's like intimidating as hell to me because he's just such an icon. Yeah. And also like sharp and like sarcastic and to the point of mean. You know what I mean? Right. I'd read some stuff about him that's like, oh no, what I gotta send you?
Yeah. Well, how did it actually come together after 30 years? That seems pretty unlikely.
that we worked with Steve Albini.
Yeah.
Well, we did that tour and we paid for it ourselves and we booked it, and
It was just that easy. Like he knew who you were, so that was the money, and that was enough.
It doesn't matter. It did not matter to him.
Oh, interesting.
My understanding. Let me back up. I thought he was going to be all snarky. Then I met him like on that tour that we were saving up for that session, and within 2 minutes, I'm like, oh, he's a sweetheart. He's just like, he's got an edge to him, like we all do. But
right.
At any rate, what was your question? I'm sorry.
Oh, I just find it interesting that you can get him to.
Yeah. Well, my understanding is, first off, he never called himself a producer. He called himself a engineer or a music recording person, or he had because he didn't want to take points on a record. He didn't want to My understanding was he didn't want to really deal with arrangements and stuff like that. He wanted the band to do everything, and he would record it and mix it, which is largely what a producer does. But and I understand that he's got a rate. He's just got a rate.
Huh.
And it's not like if we go to I name a producer, they would look at us and go, I could do it for this much, and it's a scale. And if we were on Interscope, then it's like 5 times that much.
Right.
You know, and but my understanding was he had just had a rate.
And so, did he? I mean, the way I interpret what you said was maybe he's making your guitar sound better, or his unique way. Is he adding ideas, or not really?
Not like arrangement ideas, but like we weren't all in the same room, because that just doesn't work. But I was in a separate room, isolated, but all the amplifiers were in one room, all 3, bass, guitar,
huh.
and so that the sound just does something to the compression and everything. So cool. But that's not what you asked. But
that's really cool, though.
So we would be in our own booths with our headphones, and then we would do a take, and I think that was the one. And then, okay, let's go in and listen to it. And so headphones off, unplug, power down, and all the stuff. It just takes you a couple of seconds, and we're talking about it too. So we get in there. By the time we get into the control room, he's built a mix, built out a mix.
Wow.
And with fades and panning and stuff, it was it was really cool. So that in that sense, he contributed his ideas. But and as far as guitar tones, it was just, what do you want this to sound like? And I actually had my iPhone. I said, well, I did this demo, and somehow I managed to dummy up this kick-ass guitar tone for the solo. Mm-hmm. And he said, Les Paul, Big Muff, JCM 800 or whatever, and put it all together, and okay, just listening on an iPhone.
Right.
But he wasn't. I think he respected that we had our shit together.
Yeah.
Because it was like, okay, let's do this, and he was ready to work. But then after hearing a song or two, he was like, you could tell he was excited.
Right. So, I mean, he knew who you were, though, as a band, or no?
I never asked.
Idea. Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
I did play, at some point when we got to know him well enough, I played the beginning of Tyler.
Okay.
And because it's a direct knockoff of Where Is My Mind.
Uh-huh.
And he said, yeah, that's a knockoff, all right.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. The Toadies have gone through some changes, band member-wise.
Yep.
And then you guys, you kind of were doing your thing, and then you broke up for a little bit, and there was a reunion show that was supposed to just be one show in 2006.
Yeah.
And then you got together and were like, let's keep doing this?
Well, yeah. A couple of things happened. I had a band called the Burden Brothers in the interim. I'm sorry, I'm allergic to something. My nose is itchy as hell. And that was, I learned that it's really difficult to reinvent yourself. And so we went out, we did 2 kick-ass records and a bunch of singles and did some videos, and it was a lot of fun, and I'm glad I did it, but man, it was tough. And so that was coming to an end for me. Mm-hmm. And I started writing songs, and they just sounded, I was writing songs rather than writing songs with Burden Brothers, which is kind of what we did. And so they sounded more like old school Toadies songs. And then we had that one-off, and then we got offered another one, and there's these festivals that we would do every now and then. And somewhere in there, I'm like, do you guys want to just do this record, and we'll just do a record and see what happens? That got a great reception, and we didn't know what to expect after being gone for so long. And had a lot of people show up to the shows. And then at some point, I'm like, why are we doing radio festivals? Why don't we do our own festival? And so we did 10 years of Dia de los Toadies, where we put together our own thing, top to bottom, which turns out is a lot of work. So,
I bet.
Yeah, so... yeah, I'm glad, they were a lot of fun, and I wish we could keep doing them. It just doesn't make sense,
I feel like it's probably really expensive.
It's super expensive, especially when you got to, build fencing and get permits and toilets and rent-a-cops and yeah.
Yeah, it's fun, and I put on my own events, and you're like, cool, I did that. Now I'm doing something else, I mean, it's funny too, because for me, like, again, I didn't grow up out here. Like, your second part of your history is almost what I'm more familiar with, and it's cool to see it all being active. I mean, and I feel like I read that Fort Worth had a Toadies Day or named a street. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we play. We kind of made it a tradition that we would play December 30th, the day before New Year's Eve, because we hate playing New Year's Eve.
Yeah, I get
it's
that.
The worst.
Definitely.
And but New Year's Eve, we can go do our thing and then be at home.
Right. Yep.
But so we did that for a good number of years at Billy Bob's. We played December 30th, and then it was not Maddie Parker. Damn it! It was the last mayor. I've forgotten her name. Yeah, she made it Toadies Day,
nice.
December 30th. I've got a little plaque on my wall in my studio.
Right. That's cool. I mean, why don't we talk about the Loop? I didn't realize when I came here this was your spot.
Yeah.
How long have you had it? Like, what goes on here?
This July will have been 10 years of being open.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. And I mentioned early on the you store it storage unit. We rehearsed in those places. We rehearsed in other rehearsal places. And a lot of them were just so dingy and bugs and smoking and people living there and just not safe, and I've always wanted to do this. I've just always wanted to have a nice place that if you drop something on the floor, you don't just leave it because it's gross now.
Right. I will say I've been to many rehearsal studios. That bathroom smelled and looked nicer than any I've ever been to. So I commend you on that.
Thanks. Yeah. So back in 2016, I got married to my wife, Rachel, and her father is a crazy talented construction guy. He just retired, but he owned his own company up in Oklahoma City. And so we started talking about this, and he said, well, yeah, we can make this happen. And started looking for properties. We found this property, and it was just an abandoned office building and just gross. And the first time we walked through it, Rachel was like, I hope I don't see a rat. And I said, I hope I don't see a body, because this is gross.
Right. Yeah.
So we took it all the way down to the studs. We left the main hallway studs, and that's all. And we took everything out, gutted it. This was the back wall. And then put in soundproofing between the walls, extra thick sheetrock, sound dampeners in the air conditioning ducts. It just you name it. We it's not a recording studio, but if there was a band tearing it up real loud next door, we could talk like we are now, and that was my goal.
Right.
And her Sonny, Rachel's dad, helped us do all that, and then right when COVID hit, before when lockdown just started, we had just broken ground to build the second half of the building. Because we had bought this building and then the two lots next to it.
Gotcha.
And so that I thought, well, there's so many times I thought, well, this is the end of this business, you know.
Yeah.
But it turns out the workers, construction people, they were still working, and they didn't have anywhere else to go, so they finished it up, did a great job quickly, and then people were like, I need to get out of the damn house, and it just filled up.
Yeah.
And there was one guy specifically that had one of our biggest rooms because it was the only one that we had available, and he just came here and banged on drums 3 hours a day just to be out of the house.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
But it's been great. We stay full. This right now is our busier time for the hourly room, which is where we are now. It's got full PA, drum kit, mics, and everything.
Very big too.
It's like 700 square feet.
It feels like I used to like do lockouts and hourly in LA, and there'd be like the showcase rooms. And this feels like you could put a few chairs in and do a showcase in here.
Sure, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's cool. And so you have an hourly and then everything else is lockout?
Yeah, monthly lockout, yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean, I guess if you want to do hourly in Fort Worth, check out the Loop, right?
Yeah, we have a lot of people come through from like on the way to South by or whatever other festival, yeah. We've had Disney in here.
Huh.
They were auditioning for some cruise ship or something. I don't know, but we actually had to pay a couple of our clients to take all their stuff home because they took all these rooms and it was crazy.
Huh.
We had Disney, we had Leon Bridges in here. Just recently, we had Prince's backing band, the New Power Generation, was in here.
Nice.
But yeah, a lot of times it's bands that I'm not familiar with, but you know, they're just coming through and working and getting their thing together for
I mean,
whatever
it's like
else.
a lot of tours will start in Dallas or Fort Worth, and so I guess I heard someone saying that Santana was at their lockout in Dallas a few weeks ago.
Cool.
So yeah, it's funny how that happens. Like my old lockout in LA, I remember I was up front and Pat Smear just was like hanging out for no reason. Like, hey, that's Pat. You want to talk to him? I'm like, no, I'm too chicken. You know? But that's cool. So like you have this, you have the band. I mean, do you have other things that you are doing of interest, or just kind of like living life?
Got a couple dogs. I like my dogs.
Yeah. Gotcha. So the band, you've got this new album coming out. We think on the 1st.
I think it's the 1st, yes.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
And then there's a show at Longhorn on the 2nd at the Backyard.
Yes.
Which is going to be a lot of fun. I think it's Local H Black Angels.
I cannot remember, honestly.
It's Black Angels and it's Vandaliers. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. I've shot Local H, and that guy, they're amazing. And I was at the merch table. I took a photo of him, and I got home, and he looks like he wants to kill me in that photo. I'm sure he's a nice guy.
That's a resting kill you face.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, you've been doing this for a while, and you just recorded a new album. Like, what's the hope for this? What's up next? I mean, just full on focus on the album, or?
Well, we have a giant tour, like you mentioned, that was really just I had these songs, and we get to work with Albini and have this dream record, and then that's about as far as my thinking goes.
How long were these songs bouncing around before you actually recorded this?
I started seriously writing this record during lockdown.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of it deals with, almost all of it deals with the emotional trauma and all that stuff of that time.
There's some. It's kind of lose it now. I liked the. That's the name's escaping me. One of the new ones. Like I really like the lyrics. I like the way it was. You know, like the damage. That's what it is. Yeah. It's funny because like, you know, you're listening to music and then you'll zone out, and that like those lyrics like pull me right back in like immediately. It was
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That one. Part of lockdown was maybe I don't know if a lot of people did this, but I found myself, I was watching movies all day long, and then I was like staring at my record collection going, huh. So listening to records all day long.
Yeah.
And one of them, I came across Bob Seger, that rambling, gambling man. Uh-huh. And I'm like, that's such a jam. It's just so fun, happy, you know?
Yeah.
And I thought, I want to write a song like that, but, you know, do me to it where it's not necessarily that happy. So that was the impetus for starting that song Damage. It's like musically I wanted to have that not weird, but that cool party.
Yeah. Yeah, it moves. It moves.
Yeah.
I'd like to check that one out. Here's something. When you started, were you trying to sound a certain way? Or is it just this is what it came out as, and this is what it is?
When I started writing this record, or just back in the day?
Both in the beginning and now. Yeah.
In the beginning, I was trying to do the Pixies covering the Talking Heads on top of ZZ Top.
I mean, not a bad mix for sure.
So yeah, my first demo that we did, our first demo, actually went to see the Pixies at Tommy's Uptown, and they were in the Pixies were in a Winnebago type situation, and David Levering came to the door because of course I knocked on the door, and gave him the cassette, and saw the show, came back after the show, knocked on the door again. He came out. He goes, "Oh yeah," he gave me the tape, and I went, "Yeah, yeah," and I didn't expect he would. And he goes, "Yeah, listen to it. Sounds like us." Like in hindsight, yes, very much did.
That's so wild that you got to give it to him though, and that he actually listened to it.
Yeah, and of course, I was like, "Sound like you didn't sound like David Levering. Think I sound like the Pixies." And then 2 days later, I'm like, damn it, I got to fix this.
It didn't occur to you? You just kind of subconsciously. Yeah, that's funny. Did you ever open for them? Or?
No.
Yeah. No, there's still a chance.
Yeah.
They're still touring too. And then, so now, I mean, like this record, I mean, do you go in saying, you know, we do have a sound to honor, or do you don't care about that? It's just what the songs are?
I think I just want to do what I want to do. And like, I have had the prior record to this one, I had a stated goal of I want to do what Led Zeppelin, was it 3, where it's like half acoustic and half electric, and it just was not. It was all electric.
It just didn't happen.
I had acoustic guitar sitting in the studio and just sat there the whole time.
It just didn't call you.
Yeah. So, but you know, with this one, the sound for me is just what I'm going to do. It just comes out of me.
Right.
And it's frustrating sometimes because there are times when I just want to write just a normal song, just a pop song. I just want to write a pop song. No, why is it in 9? Why is this in 9/4 time?
I was going to say
there's no pop songs that are in 9.
Right. That's great.
But you know, for this one, the conscious decision was I'm feeling these things, and I don't want to lean on characters like I have in the past, or fictionalize it, or whatever else. I want to, as much as I'm able to, and brave enough to, I want to face this emotional stuff head on. And so I don't know how direct that is for the people, if people will be able to pick that up or not. But you know, I just wanted to get this stuff out,
right,
and have a conversation.
On this one in particular, are you coming in with these songs and then everybody does their own thing? Are you saying, I'd like you to go this way? Like, how does that part of the process work? There
are some songs that I fully realized top to bottom. There are other songs, one of them specifically that Rez, our drummer, Mark Reznachek, everybody calls him Rez, he sent a voice memo to Clark, our guitar player, and he goes, "Can you write a riff over this?" And I can't remember the time signature, but it was like a really cool little beat, and he just kind of beatboxed it into his phone. And then Clark put it into his files and wrote a little guitar riff on top of it, and then sent it to me. And so then I'm like, I think I want to slow it down a little bit, I think is what I'd first. So now I can't use any of that, so I have to manipulate it all again.
Right.
But I think eventually I went back to the original thing. But anyway, built a whole song on top of it. And then there's a couple of songs like that. Another one that Clark had a main riff on, sent it to me, and several things like that. Then we had a pre-production session in here where we had our friend Frenchie, who is a producer from Austin. We've done several records with him. He came up with his full recording gear to do like real pre-production. And we set up in here and did, I don't know how many, couple of sessions of a week at a time or something like that. And just really nailed down the arrangements. And he had some arrangement ideas, which is what we were looking for. And yeah, so it was a really cool experience.
And you've never really approached it like that?
No.
Okay.
Not really.
Interesting.
No.
Interesting. Okay. We're going to wrap it up here, but you've toured the world. Looking back at DFW, like how do you see our music scene in the scheme of the rest of the like how do we fit into the scene?
To me, it's a lot like Chicago. You tour and sometimes you have to have a local opener. That's just the bane of my existence, is local opener, because it's somebody that the promoter owes a favor to.
Yeah.
But you get to Dallas or Chicago, and it's like, cool, local opener, because they're going to have their shit together and they're going to sound good. And that's been every time for both of those markets for me.
Cool. Hey, thank you so much for coming on. We're going to look for the new album. Come see the Toadies live if you get a chance.
Yeah. I keep forgetting to mention Spaceflight Records. We did hook up with the record label Spaceflight.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Is putting this thing out. They've been kick-ass to work with. They're doing a great job. We're still it's very hands-on and very, we're not trying to major label this thing.
Yeah.
And the coolest part for me as a dad, my daughter just graduated last year from Parsons in New York, and in photography. And so
cool.
I flew her to Chicago, so she got to come in the studio with us and Steve and shoot the session.
Nice.
And if you buy the record or if you look at our promotional stuff online, those are 99% her photos.
That's great.
Yeah. So
That's
she's
great.
living up in Brooklyn now doing...
Also, I think my dad needs to make an album so I can get into a studio and take photos. It's like, I never thought of that angle. Okay. That's awesome. And I mean, it's so cool that you work with Steve Albini and that you have a new album coming out. I mean, you're to me like what Fort Worth rock kind of is, at least like the cornerstone. That's how I see it. Again, I didn't grow up here. I'm not an expert, but I'm entitled to my opinion on my show, I guess. But anyway, Vaden, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thanks, man.
We'll be looking out for everything.
Cool.
I'd like to thank Vaden Lewis for joining us. The new album, The Charmer, is coming out, and you can see the Toadies live everywhere. Thank you to the Deep Ellum Community Center for letting us record here. Theme song, Unstoppable by Salim Narala, and the outro is The Place to Be by Electric Ants. Thanks again to the Mullen & Mullen Music Project for their support. Like, subscribe, and share the podcast, and we'll see you next week.